Hey, what's up, everybody? You know, everybody's been giving their thoughts lately on the news that has come out of both TNA and WWE, and I might touch a little bit on the Ring of Honor situation as well. If you're wondering why I got my sunglasses on and why I look a little neater, I just got out of church. Our pastor wasn't there today. He's kind of like, I think, on vacation, but he'll be back next week. But anyway, getting into what everybody's been talking about. This past week, a lot has happened in professional wrestling. Now we know tonight, Over the Limit airs on pay-per-view, but it's gonna probably be the least bought pay-per-view in WWE for quite a while because it hasn't really been promoted well, and also it's just more along the lines of, you know, we go from Brock Cena to Leonidas Cena. It just hasn't had the proper build-up, and I think WWE realizes that. Anyway, speaking of WWE, the announcement was made this past week by WWE and USA that Monday Night Raw will be going 3 hours. Excuse me, 3 hours? Now, if you kind of look at it from a negative and a positive standpoint, you take a look at a positive, that sounds good, right? It means you could probably have more wrestling, you could have more storylines driven home and all that, or basically more storylines, you know, like I say, driven home and given a chance to expand on and stuff. That's a positive. You can actually allow those that as some people say, underdeveloped, those that don't really get a chance to shine on Raw and SmackDown. I mean, that's an opportunity. So, you know, that's a positive right there. But then again, there's the negative. And the negative is sometimes it takes a lot more planning to do a 3-hour show than it does a 2-hour show. I mean, I understand they're used to planning for near 3-hour pay-per-views and a near 4-hour WrestleMania. I understand that. But to try to plan weekly for a 3-hour Raw starting in July, you know, it's going to be more pressure. Now, it might be more of a pressure for them because let's take a look at what's happened over the past few weeks. Over the past few weeks, Raw has not really been that great. As a matter of fact, a few weeks ago, according to several sources, Monday Night Raw was almost done at the last minute. It was created right at the last minute, you know what I'm saying? And not many people like that. So the question is, so obviously the question is going to be, is it going to succeed? And right now, there's a majority of people, even those at the PWI Torch, I'm pretty sure they're going to talk about this on the Pro Wrestling Report. Off the Rope Show is going to probably mention it a little bit. I know Dad's on Wrestling is going to mention it. I mean, you already got people talking about it. You got No DQ talking about it. You got No Adonis talking about it. And they've all basically said the same thing along with all the other dirt sheets. And not just dirt sheets, but insider sheets, if you will, that it's not a good idea. It's not a good move. I mean, again, the only positives that could come out of it is you expand on your storylines and you give more people opportunities. That's the only way. But, you know, what they're afraid of is we're going to get another dragged out segment like we did on Raw with Big Show, and it's not going to be funny. And they're not going to like it. So, I don't know exactly what this whole thing's about. I mean, some people have speculated perhaps the first hour may be a bit of a pre-show, perhaps. But if it's a pre-show, then all you're doing is putting superstars on before it. So why don't you just do that? You know what I'm saying? Anyway, what I'm trying to point out is there are positives and negatives. Positives, you give more people that are underdeveloped opportunities to shine, and you can have storylines develop even more and get driven home even more, and perhaps that'll be a better thing. The negatives is the planning that you have to go through weekly for this, because I'm sure they're looking at this and they're like, alright, 2-hour Raw, that's no problem. 3 hours? How are we going to add another hour? You know what I'm saying? I mean, that's the negative. They're going to have to try to figure out what they can place in for that extra hour. So that's not going to work well. And think about it, there are some people within the WWE, from what I've heard, that don't like the idea. But anyway, that's a negative there. And another negative is long, dragged out promos that can go even longer than 20 minutes. I mean, heck, what are we going to get? A promo that, like we got one time in TNA? We had a promo in TNA last year, and a lot of people could, I can't remember what episode of Impact it was, but it was so dragged out, according to some people, it went 40 to 45 minutes. It was half the show. So, sorry about that. Some people were walking by with a dog and I was crossing the street. But anyway, that 40 to 45 minute promo was half the show for Impact. So you gotta think to yourself how WWE is gonna respond to that. Well, not respond to it, how fans are gonna respond to that. Respond to the, well, okay. Let me correct myself. Basically that 40 to 45 minute promo that was on Impact, how do you think fans are going to respond to the fact that Raw's going 3 hours, and the possibility that the negative could be what we saw with Big Show could get expanded by 20 minutes in a promo? So in other words, people always complain about Triple H having too much promo time. Some people may get pissed off at the fact that, okay, his promos go for about 20-something minutes sometimes. The negative they look at is that he could have double that time because it's 3 hour deal. Or they could give double that promo time to Mr. John Laurinaitis. So I don't really know if it's going to be a good. So that is the one thing negative wise that fans are looking at. You know, longer promos, longer dragged out, boring promos. That's about it. So, again, positive, it gives people more opportunities to shine, even those that are underdeveloped. Kind of helps expand and drive storylines even further. Negatives is trying to plan out for an extra hour, and the possibility of longer, dragged out promos that are not necessary. Now, as far as TNA goes, TNA made the announcement that one, they're moving to 8 o'clock Eastern Pacific on Thursday nights, which is a good thing because they'll get more of an audience. Starting in May. Secondly, they announced that for the summer only, they're going to be going live. Now, what does that mean? Well, initially what that means by going live for the summer is they're testing it out. Instead of doing what they did 2 years ago, where they just said, okay, we're going to go to Monday nights and we're going to be live every other week. Instead of doing that, they're saying, you know what? Let's see what happens when we go live on our established night just for the summer, and if it works, hey, it works. We'll start doing live shows from now on. And here's why I think they're going to test it out during the summer. One, they know there's a lot more people out during the summer, kids, teenagers, college students, you name it. Secondly, I think some people in TNA, Dixie, Eric Bischoff, you name it, you know, people, some of the high upshalantes, are getting sick and tired of people going into the Impact Zone and spoiling what's going to happen on Impact. So that is why I think they're doing this, to see exactly how it works. And if it works, then fine, it works. If it doesn't work, well, taping's always the best thing, but I think that's one of the reasons they're going to test this. One, again, so they could see exactly how it works on Thursdays, especially with the new time slot, and two, so they can avoid possible spoilers from being leaked out. That way they can, in their mind, make the product more spontaneous, I should say. Make the product more spontaneous and unpredictable, to the point that, let's say, like the Schlegel Natty, who doesn't read the spoilers, to come out and literally be surprised. Because that's why some people like Schleg Daddy don't read the spoilers. They want to be surprised. So I think that's one of the reasons they want to do this. They want to go with that spontaneous unpredictability. And again, if it works, then they'll just go with it from now on. Now though, here's the thing. The only thing that's really kind of controversial right now for TNA is the fact that they are literally probably shooting themselves in the foot at the same time. I'm with something else. You see, you think, okay, you got these two positive things that TNA is doing, and which we all agree is a good things for them to do. But again, like I said, you say to yourself, alright, you know, all that's cool, the live during the summer, the 8 o'clock time slot, whatever. You know, it's all good. But then you get the news that they've made a partnership with Bellator. Basically I guess you could say the WCW or something like that, the WCW of MMA or something like that. And what does that mean? Well, initially what that means by this partnership is it's going to probably allow them to bring in MMA fighters to work for not just them, but also continue to work for Bellator. One is King Mo, from what I understand. I don't know who this guy is, but apparently he's I guess if you're a true MMA fan, you know who he is. But that's who TNA is bringing in, because the first one they're bringing in because of this partnership. So we'll just have to see what happens there. So that's kind of a controversial, kind of up in the air thing for them. So I guess you could say 2.5 out of 3 on the good news scale is good news for TNA wrestling. But then folks, we have we have Ring of Honor. Now, Ring of Honor to me did the right thing this past week at Border Wars, when they had Kevin Steen become the world champion. To me, that was a good move on Ring of Honor's part, because they know they need somebody that is that's basically very not recognizable, but somebody that people can relate to and get behind. Somebody that's more than just oh, I'm a straight fighter and all that, you know. Someone they know is like, hey, this guy's pretty cool. I can get behind this dude. And that's why, to me, they put the belt on him. Now, how they're going to go with it storyline-wise, that's going to be quite interesting in itself. I'm pretty sure it's going to be something that eventually, when Ring of Honor finally gets more exposure, even around these areas, excuse me, like they got exposure right now in about, let's say, about 30%, about maybe a 50% to 30 to 50% portion of the country, that this is going to be the one that gets them over the top eventually. It's going to get more people interested. Now, that's a good one. That's the one good thing. However, with Ring of Honor, usually when there's a positive, there's always going to be a negative that follows. And the negative that follows is their internet pay-per-view situation. In case no one really knows, Ring of Honor basically fucked up on Saturday. Oh, excuse my language. I just got out of church. I'm sorry, Lord. I'm sorry. Please forgive me. They messed up, I meant to say. I'm so used to saying it the other way, but they messed up big time on Saturday. Basically, their internet pay-per-view for about an hour was not available to most of the people that purchased it. Here's the situation. Ring of Honor had this partnership with Go Fight Live. Something caused that partnership, and some, I guess, you know, caused that partnership to dissolve. And Ring of Honor decided, you know what, we're just going to put it on our website. Now, you think that's a good idea, but then all of a sudden, boom, first pay-per-view they have on their website. What happens? They end up losing the feed for about an hour for a majority of their customers. Now, from what I understand, 100 or so customers will probably be able to order it and watch it, but the hundreds more maybe, or but the 100 plus more that wanted to watch it didn't get a chance to. So basically, Ring of Honor, you know, messed up in that category, if you will. So that was the negatives. And now, I guess the person in charge of Ring of Honor issued a statement that they're going to try to fix it, and that by doing so, they're also going to offer to those that didn't get a chance to watch that 1 hour, that first hour or so of Border Wars, they're going to offer to them Best in the World for free. Now, okay, so basically you got a 1 out of 1 situation. The positive out of that, though, is according to several sources, even the Pro Wrestling Report, the replay got more orders than they expected. I mean, hey, if you could pay $15, that's fine. But they got more orders than they thought, because I guess Ring of Honor finally got the situation fixed, and they were able to offer in replay mode, that is, replay mode, the pay-per-view, the iPay-per-view. So, two positives, you know, Kevin Steen becoming champion, and the replay becoming the most, I guess, bought replay of probably any internet pay-per-view, wrestling-wise, is a good thing. The only negative is the fact that they need to still work out the bugs on the internet pay-per-view when they air it from the site. So, Ring of Honor, they're trying to get there, but it takes time. And I think eventually, like many people are saying, they're going to have to make the decision, whether they like to or not, to go to that regular pay-per-view route that they had before. Remember when they would have the pay-per-views and it would be kind of like shown every now and then? They're going to have to start going towards that in the near future. So, but that's all I'm going to say on this on everything wrestling-wise when it comes to Ring of Honor, TNA, and WWE. Comment down below, tell me what you guys think, and I'll talk to y'all later.